The number 2 pick in the women's basketball preseason coaches poll, the Hartford Hawks are coming off their 7th 20-win season and 8th trip to the America East title game since 2002. The Hawks returned 11 letter winners, including preseason all-conference pick Amber Bebko. Head coach Jen Rizzotti sat down with Eric Frede to talk about the upcoming season.
Back here at America East Tip-Off with the head coach of the Hartford women's basketball program, Jen Rizzotti, starting, it can't be true, her 15th year?
Yes, 15.
Doesn't look a day over 14 years for you.
Yeah, I know. Thanks.
How, it just popped in my head, how have things changed a little bit? I mean, you always are competing for a championship, but basketball, is it the same as 15 years ago, or is it kind of transitioned a lot? I mean, it seems different, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's probably the same sport.
Well, it's the same sport, but obviously we've been through quite a few groups of players and have had to adjust, I think, based our coaching style a little bit based on the personnel that we have. But for the most part, I think the biggest bonus to being at a place for so long is once you've built the culture that you want, you can sustain it a lot easier. And I think having players in my program that have won championships kind of gives us that mentality that that's what we're expected to do every year. And so we've been able to sustain that since we won our first one in 2002.
And when you are out recruiting, are you targeting kids who are part of championship programs for the most part, and just so they can kind of fit into that culture a little easier?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, it's definitely an ideal scenario if you can get a good player that's used to winning. But sometimes you also are looking for the right fit, and there are a lot of good players that at times play for bad high school programs, or maybe they play for a good AAU program or vice versa. So, it's more about the kid, it's more about their personality and the intangible things that I think that they can bring to the table for us. And I think the important thing is once they get to Hartford, they understand what's expected of them right away in terms of their behavior, in terms of their work ethic, and in terms of the extra time they have to put in to be successful individually so that they can help our team win.
How do you need to adapt, or how do they need to adapt to you? You talked about every year is another challenge.
Yeah.
What sort of changes and, I guess, adaptations are there in store for this Hartford team this year?
Well, I would say I don't change a whole lot. I'm pretty stubborn no matter what team I have.
I've seen that, yeah.
We definitely have had different groups of players with different mentalities. We've had to change offenses over the last 5 or 6 years to suit different kinds of players, and I think we're in another transition period for us right now in terms of taking a real hard look at our personnel and deciding what's going to be the best way to play. So I'm not really sure I have all the answers yet, but that's kind of the fun thing about a year like this, is that we can experiment with different players and different roles. We can try different defenses, and we can put people in different positions than they've been in the earlier parts of their career. And this team is hungry in a different way. They're 2 years of not winning, and that's a long time for players at Hartford, and I think that they're hungry in a different way in terms of understanding what's expected of them and wanting to get back to that top spot. And this is probably as motivated as we've been in 3 years.
And who's leading the way? Who are your leaders for this year's team?
We have a lot of good candidates for leadership. I think, the clear leader for us right now is Katie Roth. So surprisingly, she's only a redshirt sophomore, but I think the respect that she brings to the table from her teammates and her coaches has kind of set her apart from everybody else. But I think more importantly, we have a good group in our upperclassmen classes. Alyssa Engler, who's been in the program for 3 years, Amber Bebko and Shanice Boltron, that are juniors now, and Sherelle Moore, that really are starting to emerge in their own way. I mean, they've been kind of overshadowed by a really dominant class that we've had here the last 3 years, and these guys are now stepping into the limelight and feeling their own way as leaders, leading by example, leading vocally. So we have a lot of different good candidates for who can be our leader down the line, but I would say the voice of our team right now is Katie, and I don't know that I'd want it any other way.
Yeah, she carries herself that way, with that kind of confidence too. Best of luck, good luck this season, and healthy year, as always, would be the nice thing. Jen Rizzotti, head coach of the Hartford Hawks, with us here on Tip Off Day.